That's a real super Woopah.
This Wednesday, Nintendo had another Direct, and I usually don't cover these on my channel. I'm much more of a Pokemon fan than a Nintendo fan. But this Direct, besides having some pretty major Pokemon news, just had some huge news in general. I just felt compelled to talk about it. I took notes on everything and separated it into 3 categories. The first thing is quick hitters, stuff that I did think was pretty cool, but wouldn't be worth making a video about by itself. The second thing is the Pokemon news, obviously the thing that I'm most excited about. And the third thing is the other major news items, the things that really made the headlines this Nintendo Direct. So let's get to it. For the quick hitters, there's Persona 5 Tactica. It's a turn-based Persona 5 spin-off, your usual tactics game. Releases November 17th, 2023. I don't really know anything about this, but I know my mod input would probably be interested in it. There's a new Splatfest in Splatoon 3. It runs from July 14th to 16th, and you can pick your favorite flavor of ice cream from the 3 options: vanilla, strawberry, and toothpaste. The Batman Arkham trilogy is coming to the Switch, port of one of the best superhero series ever in video games. I'm not particularly excited for this because I already own these games on another platform, but I have heard some people saying they're excited about it, and hey, it's always good for the Switch to add more games to its library. But still, no love for Origins. Come on, guys, it's a good game. Why do they pretend like it doesn't exist? It's a lot better than Arkham Knight, but whatever. Releases in fall of 2023. Just Dance 2024 is coming out. I really don't care about this game, but hey, it was one of the best-selling Wii games for a reason. Definitely could have some big support. There's Penny's Big Breakaway, releases in early 2024. It's a 3D platformer. It looks like your partner is kind of a sentient yo-yo or something like that. I guess the main character, Penny, is a kind of a jester type character. It looks unique, kind of fun and colorful. I think it could be cool to check out. Definitely one of the more exciting indie games that they covered. And then there's Headbangers Rhythm Royale. This game is just goofy, and that's great. I love it. The only negative is that pun that they had at the beginning. That was just terrible.
Music and pigeons? Sounds pretty cool.
That is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Now we get into the Pokemon news. Obviously my favorite part of the Nintendo Direct. They actually opened up the Direct talking about the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the DLC for Scarlet and Violet. They just expounded a bit on what had already been announced. For the teal mask, the first thing that I noticed from the trailer is that obviously the graphics look a lot better than they do in the actual game. The characters seem interesting. Give Game Freak credit where credit is due. The character design and character personality in these games have been spot on. There's also a Blue Whoop sighting. Let's go!
Here comes the boy. Hello.
The 3 Guardian Pokemon, and maybe an unpopular take, but I just think they look goofy. I know, hey, you can have haha funny meme dog, but it just looks silly in a Pokemon game. One thing I will admit I was wrong on, Ogerpon in the initial Pokemon Presents announcement I thought looked goofy, but here I did think he looked better. I'm more excited for him than I was before, I'll say that. The Indigo Disc, in my opinion, has the most potential out of the 2 DLCs. The concept of a school in the middle of the ocean is very intriguing. They didn't really explain a lot of what was going to happen here, so we don't have a ton of information to go off of. There was some dude out here playing PUBG carrying a frying pan to a Pokemon battle. Tropicos looks like a really cool Pokemon, excited to see them in action. Overall, kind of limited information on the DLC, but we did get more info than we had before, so I guess we'll take it. There are a pair of other minor announcements for Scarlet and Violet. Shiny chest form Gimmighoul may appear in 5-star raids now, and if you use code Treasure Hunt through the end of July, you can get a few fancy things. And after that opening segment, you could be easily forgiven for thinking that that was going to be the only Pokemon news in this Nintendo Direct. But Game Freak was in the kitchen, and they were cooking with gas.
And of all the superlatives...
Follow my instructions. Keep it clean. Touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
That's right, Detective Pikachu returns. The series is back, let's go. There was a ton of speculation that this series had pretty much been canned, but now we get confirmation at the sequel. Huge news for the Pokemon community. Let's just take a minute to think about how this Nintendo Direct somehow was filled with bigger Pokemon news than the last entire Pokemon Presents. Sounds hyperbolic, but I'm not kidding. Look at the last Pokemon Presents. Essentially what we got was minor side anime news, a bunch of updates about their mobile apps, the announcements of a new mobile app, and announcements of the DLC that we all knew was coming. An announcement, by the way, that was pretty vague on details. Now in this Nintendo Direct, we get a little bit of explanation about the DLC that was announced in the previous one, and we get an entirely new game. That's so much more and way more to be excited about in just this Nintendo Direct than the entire Pokemon only event. Detective Pikachu Returns is slated to release October 6, 2023. The first game wasn't exactly a commercial success, but there's a reason it developed a cult following and it led to a movie adaptation that, to this date, is the third highest grossing movie adaptation of a video game. Not a ton of details were released, but we do know that the original voice actors are returning. We do know that Mewtwo is going to be in this game. I always love side games. I think that they give a lot more life to the entire Pokemon IP. I'm excited to see that this property wasn't going to be given up on. Overall, this is huge for me and probably the thing that I'm most excited about in this entire Nintendo Direct. But I do have one concern, and that's the graphics. We've seen the previous two big Pokemon games. Pokemon Legends Arceus was a little rough around the edges visually, and Pokemon Scarlet Violet was rough everywhere. It was pretty hard to ignore the graphical errors. This game does seem to have the same style as Scarlet and Violet. I don't know for sure. It's hard to say, and I will withhold judgment until I actually see the game. But just noticing the similarities and thinking of the issues that previous games had, I am a little concerned. There was this other game. It was pretty weird looking as far as Pokemon goes, but hey, maybe it's worth checking out. Moving to the big Nintendo releases, this Direct absolutely knocked it out of the park with these announcements. After this Direct, I wanted to go back to the past Direct to see if it really did have just that many new, bigger releases, or if I was just imagining things. The last Direct at the beginning of the year was pretty much all DLCs and remasters, but there were three big announcements. The first one was Pikmin 4, which had already been announced, they were just explaining more about it. The second big thing was the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance emulation system on the Nintendo Switch Online, which was a big deal, but I still feel like the library upon release was pretty lackluster. Announcing a Game Boy emulation system and then leaving off pretty much the entire Pokemon catalog is like if Sony announced a greatest hits collection but then didn't put Uncharted or God of War in there. Or what if Microsoft announced the greatest classics, but the only Halo game they put on there was ODST? It just makes no sense. And then you had a Tears of the Kingdom update, which A, the game was already announced, and B, the update really didn't give us much to go off of. Now fast forward to this Direct, and we got 6 major updates, 3 of them for never before seen games, and that's not counting the Detective Pikachu sequel that I just talked about. So this Direct really did bring it with the big announcements, and let's get into that right now. First thing was Sonic Superstars. This game was announced 2 weeks prior. It's a new 2D platforming game, kind of set to recapture that nostalgia of the early games. Set to release in fall 2023. The big draw is the 4-player local co-op. You can play as Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and also Amy. Pikmin 4 was talked about in here. It is releasing soon, July 1st, 2023, and I've never played a Pikmin game before, but this trailer certainly makes me want to get into it. One of the bigger points about this was Ochi. Looks like a kind of a mushroom dog. He's the cutest little pup I've ever seen. And Ochi isn't just a cute factor, there seems to be a lot of genuinely cool game mechanics tied to him. It seems like they're really expanding the exploration abilities of Pikmin with this underground and night expeditions that they're adding. There's also a Game Boy Advance SP guest appearance, the pinnacle of human innovation, people. I'm telling you, the greatest gaming system ever. And if you're looking to get into the game, there's good news. Pikmin 1 and 2 have been placed on the eShop, and I think that's something that I might have to look at getting. Moving to a new game announcement, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. This collection is massive. It includes Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, as well as Metal Gear 1 and 2. This is pretty huge considering these games are not easy to find, at least not easy to obtain legally. There's also a Metal Gear Solid graphic novel that's included in this. A price wasn't given for this game. It does release October 24th, 2023, but this is huge for anyone who is either an old fan of the series or someone who wants to get into the series. The last segment of this is dedicated to the Mario franchise. If you're a fan of the Mario franchise, you're going to be eating good for the next 12 months. We're getting a new Princess Peach game. No title was given and no real information was given, but it's happening and it's releasing in 2024. In 2024, we also get a Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon remastered. I'm not exactly sure why this is needed because it came out on 3DS, which isn't that terribly long ago, but hey, I guess it's not a bad thing to have an option there. There's also a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, because of course there is. I guess they're just biding their time with Mario Kart until the next Nintendo system comes out, but this is getting ridiculous. I swear it's going to be the year 2135. Society is going to collapse. AI is hunting down the last of the humans, and Nintendo is still going to announce a Mario Kart 8 DLC. There's also a Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC, but I disavow everything to do with the Rabbids. They ruined Rayman, and I will never forgive them for that. We also got another remaster, and that is a remaster of Super Mario RPG. Now, I understand if you're a listener and you're thinking, hey Woopah, you said the problem with previous Nintendo Directs was that they were all DLCs and remasters. And so far, talking about this Mario stuff, seems like most of what you're covering is DLCs and remasters. But if you don't know about Super Mario RPG, trust me when I say this was a massive surprise. And if you don't want to take my word for it, take the word of my friend Nick.
All right.
Okay.
Super Mario RPG franchise was long considered abandoned. Some of the main characters introduced in those games have not been mentioned again in any franchise. And the same kind of RPG turn-based feel was replaced by Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi series. So it seemed like Nintendo wasn't ever going to address Super Mario RPG again. Remember when I was talking about people thought that Detective Pikachu was abandoned? That first game came out in 2016. Super Mario RPG came out in 1996, and we haven't heard any news about it until right now. This is a massive win for Super Mario RPG fans. The game released November 17, 2023, so circle that date on your calendar. And the last announcement of the Nintendo Direct was a new Super Mario game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The only thing I can say about this game is it looks wild. The gimmick of this game is essentially that Mario takes actual shrooms. That's the only way I can explain it. He eats these Wonder Seeds. Yeah, sure, buddy. And suddenly the whole world starts getting shaky. Pipes start to move, piranha plants sprout feet and start attacking you, and a bunch of buffalo just come break the map out of nowhere. If that's not a Mario acid trip, I don't know what is. Jokes aside, this game does look pretty cool. It's kind of exactly what you're hoping for a new Super Mario Bros. Game. It's got enough of that traditional 2D platformer feel and really looks like Mario, and it has that new updated graphical look, so it still feels like you're playing a modern game. There's a few minor neat updates to this game. Daisy is playable, and also Mario can turn to an elephant now. So, you know, that's a thing. As far as Super Mario games go, this seems like one of the craziest additions. I'm pretty excited for it. It releases October 20th, 2023, so that Christmas release slate is going to be jam-packed as far as Nintendo goes. That's all the thoughts I have for today. What was your favorite thing in the Nintendo Direct? And was there anything in the Nintendo Direct that I didn't mention that you're really excited about? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and join my Discord if you want to get updates when I go live or make a new video. Until then, I hope to see you soon, and I'll talk to you all later.